Let me go ahead and begin this. Hey folks, it is October the 21st, and we're going over the first half of chapter 16, and that has to do with Alcibiades and more Athens and Sparta fighting after the great Athenian defeat at Sicily, which really crippled her, and is going to be kind of like the end of that city as far as being like what we call a hegemon. That means like the most powerful country in the region, right? And so the terms we have on the board are Alcibiades versus Athens, the Persians, Alcibiades and Sparta, Alcibiades and Persia, and Alcibiades returned to Athens. So we're going to see he's going to bounce all around the map until he finally comes back home. But don't worry, he won't stay there forever. All right. Really. Okay. You're going to find here, though, that that with the Persian Wars, not Persian Wars, Peloponnesian Wars, nobody really wins. Everybody just beats each other up so hard and heavy that you're going to have somebody who wasn't even on the map is going to come in and start winning all after the war's over. And that place is going to be called Athens.
Yeah, because everyone else is dead or weak.
Yeah, weakened. Yeah, lots of loss of life and all that. All right, so if you remember the Persian Wars, Persia was defeated twice, and they decided to stay home. However, they still hated the Greeks and wanted revenge, so they were very happy to see that Sparta and Athens, instead of fighting them, were fighting each other. And so the new king of Persia, Darius II, is going to have his governors, his satraps, and he's going to talk to them. He's going to command that they start collecting taxes from anywhere, or tribute, that's another way to put it, from anywhere that Persia has ever claimed, including Athens, because at one time they kind of burned it down and they kind of claimed it. And so
That doesn't go well.
doesn't go well. But his satraps are here trying to use the Greeks against one another and trying to figure out how they can get involved in this civil war. This coin was minted by one of them. It was the one Tissaphernes. Yeah, he was in your book.
Was he the long man?
Was he the what?
No, wait, that was the.
This is the one that Alcibiades is going to go run and live with, if I remember. So here you can see an instrument, a lyre. Here he is, like wearing his head thingy, little band around it, fancy man beard. So a lot of course, they didn't have airplanes. This is a modern map, but yeah. So Alcibiades, he's going to, of course, come from Athens. He's going to sail all the way to Sicily. He's going to run away to Sparta. He's going to really mess things up in Sparta. At first, they're going to love him because he's going to tell them how to defeat Athens. He's going to advise their troops, and he's also going to live like them. He's going to train like a Spartan. He's going to eat like a Spartan, and he begins to even speak like a Spartan. He gets in really good with the king there. But the Spartans are going to get mad and fed up with him because he's going to kind of get the king's wife pregnant. And so they don't like that very much. So he's going to have to flee for his life. And as he flees for his life, he comes over here to Persia, which, remember, this is the Persians were, like now it's Turkey. The Persians still had city-states here. They're Greek, but you had Persians in charge. And this is when he meets up with that Tissaphernes guy. And he's going to instead start living like a Persian. And so while he's dressing like a Persian and eating like a Persian and talking like a Persian, he's going to make them fall in love with him. And but he wants to go back home. He kind of regrets betraying his home city. And so he comes up with a plan to try to save Athens from a full-on invasion. When he does so, he's going to sneak back into the Athenian army. They're going to accept him, and the Athenians are so desperate for leadership, they're going to appoint him as general. As general, he's going to defeat the Spartans over and over and over again. Because guess what? He might have learned everything that Athenians were doing, but he also learned how the Spartans did things and all the stuff they were going to do. So he knew essentially what every army was going to do. And so he's going to defeat them at the Hellespont. That's here. They're going to conquer a place called Byzantium, which is going to be important when we talk about the end of the Roman Empire. It's going to be very important during the Middle Ages as well. And
They just wake up, go to war, sometimes go to sleep, wake up, go to war.
well, they did fight at night, so yeah, they often did rest in the evening, and they'd have guards out and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
They'll wake up, fight, go to sleep. Wake up, fight, go to sleep.
yeah. Usually at first light of dawn, as soon as the sun starts
And
coming
that's what
up.
they do every day.
It's usually when the battle starts. Now, they weren't fighting constantly. There was battles, right? And most of the war is like the in-between time, like
Like
traveling.
strategies.
Yeah, they're building, they're getting ready, they're training, all that stuff, like trying to get food and supplies. So yeah, there was Thebes. Thebes is going to be up here, but we're gonna talk about it later. So yeah, Sparta. The end game is that Sparta and Athens are going to beat each other up. Persia's going to pay them to do it. Then they're going to get so Sparta's going to win, but it's going to be so beat up from winning. Thebes will become the main power, but then you're going to have, and Thebes is actually going to train the king of Macedonia, who's going to go back home and then beat them up, and then you're going to have Alexander the Great go around and conquer the known world. But then after he dies, it all kind of falls apart. So there's not a lot of stability as far as the Greeks go in all of this stuff. So,
So in the end, everyone ends up losing.
well, yeah, they don't have.
What
But-
happens after Alexander? Isn't that like
After Alexander dies, we have what's called the period of the Diadochoi, and that's going to be when you have a lot of massive civil wars. All of those soldiers who went out and conquered the known world are then going to start killing each other because Alexander's generals are going to become kings. And then after that, after they're finally done beating each other up, it's called the Hellenistic Age. It's relatively peaceful, but then the Romans will come in. And,
it's less peaceful?
yeah,
For a while.
Romans made peace. They were just violent doing it. But
Yeah.
that's the theme of the ancient world. And in many ways, look at the 20th century. There's a lot of peace in the 20th century, but there was like massive amounts of death, record-breaking death. So it's a sad thing. It's the dark side of humanity.
Go team.
Protein.
As long as
I'm sure okay.
Yeah.
Hey, folks. So let's go ahead and get our notes for the day. So we have Alphabody versus Athens. So what again did Alphabody do against his home city?
Join the Persians and Sparta.
So yeah, that's the thing there. So he aided the Spartans in their war against Athens. But what did he cut Athens off from in order to really weaken them?
Port,
Yeah, and that was to bring in
food.
It's chapter 16.
food. It is. So help to cut off Athenian food supply. Remember, this is a siege. And I've told you that, especially for ancient armies before gunpowder, taking down a city's walls was hard. So one of the better things to do was to starve them out. Well, the only way they were getting food was from their ports. So instead of attacking the ports, which were very easy to defend for the Athenians, he attacks the place where they get their food from. So I go, so that's like, wow, yay me. Cut them off at the source. So
Cut
that's
off the
pretty
middleman.
clever. Yeah, it's like I'll just shut down Berkshire's. There. No food. So or Wally World or American Food. Fresh.
Fresh is a Berkshire's establishment.
Yes, it is.
The other stuff completely different.
And it does absolutely nothing different except hold just food.
Does it say Athens as far as?
Yeah, he aided the sport.
Persia's kind of like a weird in between because it has more like food from other places.
Yeah.
But like I
still
like
just
Brookshires
food.
because they have a little place where you can get like caramel apples and really big cupcakes.
I like places that I can afford. So, hey, all right. So the Persians. So, what are the Persians trying to do during this Greek Civil War?
They're trying to remember Athens.
Okay, yeah. So, still hated the Greeks. And so what?
They're
What
trying
were
to
they
get
doing?
them to kill each other.
So yeah. So they wanted Athens and Sparta to fight. Who are they going to take to side? But they're going to choose a side. Whose side will they choose?
Sparta.
Yeah, they're going to favor Sparta. And we're going to talk more about that later because right now they're going to offer some aid. Later on, we're going to see that the Spartans are going to get massive amounts of wealth and ships to help them defeat Athens, all from the Persians. Remember, this whole thing first started by Athens and Sparta joining together to stop Persia. After Persia was defeated, Athens was like, we will make a league to make sure they never hurt us again. Sparta also swore to oppose Persia, but their hatred for one another goes out of control. And now these guys are actually befriending them. They're sworn enemies. So it's all kind of just falling apart. Like the whole morality of it just goes away.
Everything goes nuts.
Now, Alphabody is he moved to Sparta, and so what's he doing in Sparta?
He's getting people pregnant.
Yeah,
That's
Alphabody is being Alphabody.
traitor.
Yeah, gave Sparta
Being a Zeus.
Oh, God,
He pulled a
they'll
Zeus
never
on
get Zeus level.
information about Athens. So he's advising them. He's a traitor. How is he living down there?
He was trying to live like a normal person, but later in his life he became rich and kind of went back to what he was doing. So he always gave away his color.
Yeah, he lived like a Spartan, but he couldn't do it for long. Then his, we'll say, vices, right, caught up with him. So it's really a story here. He was like the hope of Athens, but he couldn't control himself, even though he had so much potential. And because he's somebody with so much powerful potential, when he went bad, he went real bad. And then he couldn't even be good. He couldn't even stay beneficial for the Spartans. His vices and his sins just got the better of him again. And so then he has to flee for his life. Again, yeah. So he flees to the Persians. And so what does he do when he goes to Persia?
He has a great time.
Yeah, so once again, it's like a record. It's just like spinning the same song over and over again. So yeah, lived like a Persian. So he befriends the satrap there, the governor. He lives like a Persian. But he gets homesick. So what does he do?
Betrays them and goes back to Athens.
Yeah. So he gets homesick, wants to go back to Athens, and tricks
Tricks the Persians.
Yeah,
Persians into not fighting.
exactly. And into not fighting Athens. He's like, hey, you don't like any of the Greeks. Let them just kill each other. It's like, it'll be a win-win. All you got to do is throw some money at them and watch them fight like a dog fight. It's like, just let them do it. Just let them do it. Don't get your guys hurt. So, and it does. Essentially, you see this kind of thing happen sometimes in like the Cold War. You call them proxy wars, where sometimes you might not like either one of the sides, but you kind of want them to tear each other up. Like some people accuse some countries that don't like us today, like Iran, of doing that in like Afghanistan. They don't like America, they don't want to fight us, so they just kind of pay bad guys to hurt us or give them weapons and stuff like that. So his return to Athens. So the Athenians find out he's helping them. So what did they do?
They let him be a general.
Yes. So Athens made him their general. And he has multiple victories. So he once again his potential showing out. And at this time, we didn't discuss it. This is, of course, versus Sparta. But Athens was so that its democracy was so chaotic and they were losing so much. Eventually, they appointed an oligarchy, kind of like Sparta. Like
Old people get to lead.
they called it count like the 400. And so just these select guys were in charge of the government. But eventually that's going to get overthrown as well. So the government in Athens is extremely unstable. It's not even safe to be friends or enemies with them because you never know when they're going to turn against you. And so like all of Greece is kind of like in fear of like all the terrible things that Athens could potentially do and what they're doing to one another. So, and of course their head leader, the best Athenian, at the same time, he's constantly betraying people. He's super smart. He's very victorious, but at the same time, he's like betraying everybody. So he's kind of like Athens as a person.
Yeah.
Like all this potential, but it's just kind of messed up at the same time.
Sounds like okay.
So
yeah, you used like the wrong dare. So
I did?
yeah.
Oh well, I forgive me. I don't have spell check on the board.
THEIR.
Yeah.
You started.
Oh, I did, huh? Yeah, because it's possessive.
No, it's obsessive.
It's possessive.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah.
Is it what?
They say Alphabody has become one of those years.
I don't remember because we didn't talk about his return home yet because tomorrow he's going to return to Athens, feel scared, they want to hurt him. I think they're going to give him like a big celebration, but we're going to see that the Athenians are going to they're going to get mad at him because through no fault of his own, the army's going to lose a battle. And even though he's won multiple battles, a mistake is going to cause a loss, and the Athenians are essentially going to want to just kill him all over again.
Do they kill him this time?
He runs away.
Ah.
He's good at running away.
I know
So-
you know.
He's slippery. Hey, folks. Pretty short today, but we did go over what we set out to do.
Does it go to Thebes?
No, he does not. We're going to come back tomorrow and talk about the rest of the chapter. And on Friday, I'm going to try to get together a primary source document for you to read about. And it should be the end of that Life of Themistocles. And we'll see who our next biography is over after that. See you later.